Americans love fresh flowers. Floral sales in the United States generate revenue of $10 billion a year. But where do all those flowers come from?
They usually come from Mexico.
Various countries, don't they, kind of?
Yeah, they come from some dock somewhere.
It's true. Almost all of the flowers sold in the U.S. are shipped via cargo plane. In fact, 4 out of every 5 stems sold domestically come from Colombia.
The world has gotten a lot smaller in the last couple of years.
Wholesaler Nick Cassandra depends on a network of growers from around the globe and plenty of refrigeration.
I make a phone call to a farm, they cut the flower, put it on an air-conditioned truck to an air-conditioned facility at an airport, air-conditioned airplane. Everything goes into Miami, puts on a truck and gets here in 2 days.
The huge efforts required to transport this global garden could ultimately make the world less green.
Roughly 90% of the flowers that we consume here in the U.S. are being shipped in from overseas, which means they're coming by plane.
Brooklyn florist and designer Molly Oliver is a local flower evangelist.
Think about what that means in terms of everyday flower shipments coming in from many, many countries. Reducing our dependency on fossil fuel is a major issue. And one of the articles I read was, here are 10 ways that you can reduce your carbon footprint, and one of them was literally to fly less.
Molly oversees a neighborhood farm tucked among Brooklyn's urban sprawl. For her, this small plot is an answer to the dangers of mass-produced blossoms.
And I think in a lot of industrial flower farm settings, unfortunately, there's a lot of heavy use of pesticides and chemicals. You know, when workers have to wear a hazmat suit to go to work, it doesn't really seem like a healthy environment.
The tiny farm may be more wholesome than overseas flower factories, but she can't support herself with its produce. Instead, she designs bouquets for weddings and events. She often buys her flowers at the Union Square Farmers Market. Rose Meadow Farm is a Long Island flower grower. They truck in blossoms from their facilities only 3 hours away. Owner Michael Berry encourages his customers to use their nose before buying.
The fragrance is related to the age of the bloom. If you stop the aging process, it's great for shipping the stem. It kills the scent. In order to grow the flower on the other side of the world, you have to use a preservative. A cut rose has a life of like 7 to 10 days. That's it. All the vitality's gone. My snapdragons, the day you cut them, they have the most delicate fragrance. It's just so gentle, it's so delightful. It only lasts for like 2 days. If you want to be able to experience that, you have to get them when they're just cut.
For Molly, a fragrant bouquet is worth the trouble, even if she's limited by what's in season.
It's a good challenge to figure out what you can do with what you have at this time of year and try to force yourself to be as creative as you can with that. For me, it's sort of like, oh yeah, it's time to work with ranunculus and anemone. It's fun. You know, I won't see it again for another 12 months, so I should enjoy it now, you know.
I'm always hunting down something that's more special and more obscure. And to that end, I look all over the world.
Sculptor turned flower designer Emily Thompson likes to mix unusual elements in her bouquets. In her shop, nests and flowering branches stand next to giant tropical leaves.
I'm interested in flowers from so many sources, honestly.
There are creative and financial limitations of going local.
It is a global marketplace, which, you know, however one wants to handle that. And it's very difficult to sustain the costs you incur from using only local flowers during some seasons.
In the end, Emily prioritizes artistry over sourcing.
There's something about things that look alive that I think is so important. I respond so strongly to it that I can't help but assume I need to get others to as well.
Designers, growers, and customers are all nurturing the budding local flower industry. Soon they hope to see it in full bloom.
I think that there is a movement afoot. I think my compatriots and I are all really pushing toward more ethical practices and better materials and more variety, as opposed to that sort of monochrome cookie cutter thing.
Run her over.
There's a real thirst for flowers that are interesting, things that look alive.